Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Teddy G here. Hope you had a great summer and a great Labor Day weekend. Just wanted to check in with you and thank you all for your patience and support during this most unbelievable year. Obviously, for everybody, almost 2 years actually, for everybody here, and just the support and the patience you've had with me. And I know it's been, for some of you, kind of challenging because this past couple of years, more than any other year, I've had a lot more difficulty responding more timely to emails. I've missed emails. It was just crazy. My schedule completely blew up, and I'm going to get into some of these things. I'm going to share my screen and show you kind of the things that I've been doing to help small businesses and individuals, and so much planning. IRS shut down, the state of Illinois shut down, every tax agency in the country. They just barely opened up a couple of months ago. The IRS has over 30 million returns in backlog that were paper filed because they were not processing paper forms last year. The same with the states, but yet they're still processing automatic collection notices and from prior years, and we couldn't get on the phone with anybody. So huge backlog in tax return notice responses, erroneous notice responses, and it runs the gamut. And I'm not trying to make excuses. It's not like the dog ate my homework situation. This is probably the most unusual, dramatic time to do taxes and accounting in my entire 30 years. And that's not an exaggeration or over dramatization. It's been overwhelming. And so I wanted to kind of just apologize and thank you. And I know that may not mean much to some of you, and just kind of want to get the work done no matter what. And I totally appreciate that. But I need to give that context, and I need to offer that apology. And so I'm running through my list here. One of the things, obviously, I think I mentioned this in previous newsletters or videos, small businesses obviously took the brunt of everything, including me. I mean, I haven't made any money in 2 years. I lost 60% of my revenue last year. That's generally because I unhooked a lot of my monthly billing, my accounts that will bill monthly, obviously as a gesture, because everyone was suffering with cash flow, and as a result I suffered too. So I wanted to make my contribution there too. But in doing so also, there were a lot of incentives and programs the IRS rolled out, or Congress I should say, to help small businesses that were able to keep the doors open and for them to be able to pay their employees. They offered a lot of funds, and those are called Payroll Protection. That was called the Payroll Protection Program, PPP. So small businesses and large businesses were able to get loans from the SBA to keep the doors open. And I'm pretty sure many of the companies you work for received those funds. But in order for them to not have to pay back those funds, because they're basically turned into a grant. First, they were initially rolled out as a loan, and then legislation kept changing. Lobbying efforts became effective, and they, instead of turning them into just basic bridge loans, they turned them into forgivable loans. Well, when you turn them into a forgivable loan, you have to submit an application, you have to submit documents, you have to submit bank statements and payroll records. And so first, the first step of the process in 2020 was obtaining the loans. So submitting all the paperwork to do that. Then the second part of that process was after you've exhausted, these funds over a 6-month period, you were able to get forgiveness. And those forgiveness applications, basically for the first PPP loan were due in July and August of this year. So just nonstop issues and filings and major reprioritization of workflows. And what am I supposed to do really at that point as a small business owner? I hate to tell people I can't do their work. That's not what, because this is for lack of a better way to put it, a transitory period. In other words, we're going to get past it at some point. So I don't want to just tell some of the clients that maybe don't fit in those buckets or, need those services. I don't want to just say, hey, I can't, I don't have any time for you. Thanks. See you later. Because obviously I'm going to continue to decline myself in revenue. So I didn't want to do that. And I knew it was transitory. So I did lean on you a little bit. And for that, I truly, truly apologize. So I wanted to kind of, and on that topic, in addition to PPP loans, I'm going to try and keep this short, but I don't really get a chance to talk to a lot of you. A lot of it's through email. So you could see sort of firm operations here, for lack of a better way to put it, to kind of see what your accountant does, and something to kind of quantify, or I guess, for lack of a better word, this is my dashboard here. I'll get into that in a minute. But the other thing, in addition to PPP loans, is what they call the employee retention credit. So if you're a small business owner, in addition to getting these loans that were forgivable, you were also able to get a credit of $5,000 per employee in 2020 if you qualified, if your revenue was down 50%. In 2021, if your revenue was only down 20%, you got $7,000 per employee per quarter. And again, you may or may not know that, but in a normal business cycle, companies can drop 20% all the time. It doesn't have to be COVID related, and that's one of the more shocking things about this. So we're talking about billions of dollars out there waiting for companies to grab, and there was a race to get these things filed. And one of the things that I did since last year, I was one of the first, and I actually created a YouTube channel and started doing instructional videos so I could help people help themselves, in a sense. And this kind of blew up into this, I just kind of got more and more invested in this process. I have a YouTube channel on it. Somehow I got 1,400 subscribers out of nowhere, and I hardly know what I'm doing on YouTube. And I actually sell this spreadsheet now to companies all across the country. Big firms, small firms, you name it. People are buying this spreadsheet. I spent a lot of time. It's extremely complicated. But in this case, just to kind of give you a sense of what we're dealing with, this company, this individual, received a few $100,000 in PPP money, and you can do both. You can get not only loan forgiveness on PPP, but also get the retention credit. That legislatively also was, constantly, argued, can you do both? Can you do this? And we're literally getting legislative updates every single month and redoing things that we did in the past. And, we're just all over the place because Congress is all over the place. So, but in this case, this individual with 30 employees, their revenue dropped significantly, and still again, in 2021, they're getting $359,000 back. And this goes right back into the business. So again, prioritization, and this was due in July. I'm doing amended returns. So it's just such a hard thing when you have a huge, list of work to do. Who do you do first? And, I know that a lot of the small businesses that don't necessarily, qualify for some of these programs, or if you're an individual and you just want to get your taxes done, I have to balance those needs, and they're very important. There is really no, it's all really relative in terms of, level of importance. But in this case, because I had so many of these and we needed to get these filed immediately, also because there's the backlog I talked about, we want to get these things out there as soon as possible. I had to reprioritize. I really did. And I am sorry about that, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what I'm doing here as a specialized accountant. The nice thing about COVID is I was actually able to finally utilize some of my, more, I guess, advanced skills, expertise, whatever you want to call them, which, lay dormant for years on end. It was extremely gratifying for me to be able to help literally, I don't know, dozens, if not hundreds, if you apply that to my YouTube channel, and the people that have benefited from my effort to show them how to do this calculation, get money. I know personally, I probably helped secure over $1 million probably well over $1 million in forgiveness and ERTC credits. From what I can tell from the people that watched the video and bought my spreadsheets, we're talking about tens of millions of dollars. And really, the irony is that not a lot of practitioners were doing this or had a method to do it. So I feel really, really good that I was able to help. And I have to thank you for that, for still supporting me. And I just wanted to give you, just tip my hat to you. Because of your patience, understanding, I was able to do this. And of course, not everyone was as patient, and I get that. Some people want to get their stuff done ASAP, and unfortunately, I just couldn't do that. But for those of you who stuck in there and are still in there with me, because we have the corporate deadline coming up, the extended corporate deadline September, and then we have the individual deadline October. So those of you, I know your patience is running very thin, but I just wanted to thank you because you were able to help me get through a pretty big, some pretty big hurdles. You helped me get through there. So I want to avoid this moving forward in terms of because right now the government, obviously, we have essentially two types of stimulus that the government uses. They use the monetary system, which is central banking interest rates, things that we all know. Interest rates are at zero. So they have nowhere to go there in terms of stimulus, economic stimulus, to lower the rate to foster more growth. So what they're using now is the fiscal stimulus programs, which is basically fiscal stimulus is tax stimulus. So they're using the tax infrastructure to push down money into the system. And that's obviously where this is kind of coming into play again. This is where the credit comes into play. This is where other things can come into play, the child tax credit and everything else like that. The advanced payment of the child tax care credit, I should say child tax credit. So they're going to be using more and more fiscal stimulus to put, to stimulate growth. And what that means is they're going to be using the tax infrastructure, which is the filing systems, whether they're payroll filings or individual tax filings or business filings. And so we're going to see a lot more complexity. We're going to see a lot more stimulus. We're going to see a lot more programs down the road in terms of, using the tax system to provide money. For example, there's a new bill, and I'll get into this, in the future in the very near term, once Congress and the Senate get back and start pushing some of these things through. They're already talking about a distribution out of your IRA or 401k for if you're a first-time home buyer. They're increasing that limit from $10,000 to $25,000. So there's going to be planning around that. There's going to be planning around all these other stimulative credits. So things are going to get, I wouldn't say more complicated, but they're going to continue to be complex. Let's put it that way. So as a result of that, I'm trying to figure out how I balance all this out. And I had a pretty wide net, I cast a wide net over the years, on purpose, because, I wanted to grow the business, and I like working with people, and maybe I don't always show it in terms of my communication, but if you were with me a long time, I used to communicate, in the first minute you'd send an email, and that's gradually gone down as I've gotten busier, and as especially with COVID and everything going on. But I want to change that, and one of the ways to change that is I need to be a little bit more proactive and maybe a little more rigid in terms of document retrieval. I'm pretty laid back in general, and a lot of times I won't hound you or I'll just kind of let people upload things when they're ready and things. And that's actually worked against me because it just kind of creates this funnel. And then, I get it, the funnel opens up like this and it slowly closes, but the problem is that as people are bringing their stuff in, the later we get that funnel, I just get more and more people across the board at a later date. And that becomes a problem to manage, especially trying to hit the deadlines. And just to kind of give you some context and background, it never used to be the case when I started, 25, 30 years ago, literally. I'm 49. I started when I was literally 19 years old in the bookkeeping and tax business. So it used to be the case that extensions were a normal part of tax season, always normal. People were never really in a hurry. They always came in for tax planning. Everything was papers and stuff like that. You would do an interview with people. They'd bring in their shoebox, the old story there with the shoebox stuff, receipts. But that's literally how it used to be. And most people were pretty chill about their taxes. They knew they used to do tax planning on a regular basis, or once a year, if not twice, or whatever the case may be. And then they never stressed about it. Well, things change obviously with technology. Now we have the TurboTaxes of the world, H&R Block, all these online systems, and they really kind of push hard to get you filed ASAP, of course, because they want to make money as soon as they can. And the mindset's changed. Like the philosophy of just getting your taxes done as soon as possible is the thing to do, and that's put a tremendous burden on the small practices and any practice really, and even the larger firms won't even do 1040s anymore. And so that's been an issue, and it really shouldn't be the case. Like if you need your taxes done ASAP, if you're getting a refi or you're buying a house, or maybe you have a lot of money that you over withheld, or maybe you think you owe money. These are certain situations where tax planning would have helped, and therefore alleviate that stress of filing on time before the deadline. That would have helped you, and it obviously would have helped me too, to kind of prioritize certain returns based on the individual circumstances. So what I want to start doing is just kind of, asking people, assuming you're going to come back, but asking people to upload their documents sooner. And if they don't, then it'll just be an automatic extension. For example, if I can't get all the documents and can't get on a phone call or a Zoom call, I've been doing a lot of Zoom calls, and I really love the Zoom because I can share my screen like I'm doing here. Oh, you're staring at this, and I totally forgot because I keep talking. Well, this is, before I get into that, just to finish the previous thought. So, I'm doing a lot of Zoom calls. I want to do more of these, the Zoom calls, but I also want to start applying more of my specialization in terms of data analytics. The same way I'm doing it for small businesses, I want to do it to individuals, and to add more value. In other words, I don't want to just be that, I can't be that speedy tax prep guy. I will say that. I have to be honest and look in the mirror and say that in the future, I'm not going to be that guy that's going to turn around a tax return in 2-3 days or even a week or two. I mean, that's not how my brain functions. I've come to that conclusion, especially as I get, not necessarily busier, but I like to take my time and really, really be thorough and not be rushed, because, mistakes happen as well, especially if you're rushed and you're feeling pressure. And I just don't like that feeling. And that's just not good for you. And it's not obviously good for me. And it's not, to me, really what tax preparation should be about. It shouldn't be about, getting a return done as quickly as possible just to get a refund. And if you're in that boat, I understand that. But let's do tax planning so you don't have to be in that boat. And it shouldn't be a rush. And because you miss planning opportunities like that. So, for me, the speediness is not going to be part of the future of, tax preparation. Accuracy, planning, the same way I do for businesses. And I want to do some of these dashboards here. This is really cool. I have a new project management system, Smartsheet. Maybe some of you use it in your organizations. And I want to do more data analytics. I want to actually take your tax return, put some data in there, maybe take your investment accounts, analyze your investment accounts, do the compound annual growth rate, which almost nobody does unless you're a financial planner or you do that separate calculation on the CAGR. just to kind of, tax planning is the foundation of all financial planning, and I'm going to get into that as well. I'm going to I'm going to reinstate my financial licenses, which I have had for many years, but they're dormant now, so I have to retake all these exams. But I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. I want to have a more targeted focus for you and for myself, really, whether it's for individuals or businesses, more targeted focus, more planning, budgeting related for the individuals, and for the businesses, same thing, but, they have, a set of, they have another group of, standards that they need to, uphold there. But I need time and space to be able to do that. And I want to do that. And I want to get into the more of the financial planning, using your tax return as a basis for that. Whether you use me or you're doing it on your own or you have another advisor, some part of the tax preparation process will involve some level of income or financial planning component, whether you use me or yourself or we work together. It doesn't matter, but that's going to be part of the service model moving forward. In other words, it's not just going to be simply a reasonable value tax prep service that you get within a certain turnaround time. I have to move away from that based on some of the things I talked about as far as the future fiscal stimulus, managing time, and really managing what I do here as a more or less specialized tax and accounting service. So that's really it, really. So, I talked about this dashboard. I showed you that. And I just wanted to bring you up to speed a little bit. Oh, and sorry, I forgot. The last part of this is pricing. So, for the most part, my pricing is all over the map. As you all know, as I told everyone, I hate doing hourly billing, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to implement hourly billing. So you're still going to have a base rate, which will go up a little bit. And then I'm going to be charging the firm rate, which is $150 an hour for any and all services, correspondence, emails, Zoom calls, whatever the case may be. I don't think I'll be billing every 6 minutes, but I'm still trying to figure out if it's going to be that or 10 minutes or every 15 minutes. And why am I doing that? It's really to capture the time. I spend so much time, I don't track it. And part of it also is this rebuilding and layering in staff. It's really hard to find staffing. It's hard to find part-time staff. It's hard to find full-time staff, especially to do the kind of work that I do. And this is system-wide, whether you're a big firm or small firm, or really, just watch the news. It's really impossible. It's very, very difficult to hire, first of all, anybody. Then second of all, someone qualified to do the work that's highly specialized like this. And so I've been generous with my time because I didn't really have a need. It was just me. And I was always hoping to layer someone else in, and I would just kind of give them a separate billing rate that might be lower than mine. But that doesn't seem to be happening anytime in the near future. I still have outside staff that work remotely, but I'm gonna need to capture some more of this time to kind of map out really financially, have a better sense financially of how I can scale this business, with this new focus with the financial planning and more business advisory, like I was showing you with the ERTC credits and things like that, because I'm getting clients also from across more and more small businesses from across the country as well. So these are exciting things for me. After experiencing such a huge loss over the last 2 years, I feel like I'm going to be climbing back up in the near future. And so anyway, if you have any questions, obviously feel free to email me or call me. And I just want to thank you again for all your patience and support over the last really 1.5 to 2 years. I can't thank you enough for that. Your business means everything to me. It really does. You helped me climb out of a very difficult situation after the recession that we had. I started this business with nothing, literally zero. I billed out $3,000 in my first year, and I've turned ops accounting into the nice little small practice that it is. And don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of your support. And I want to continue to grow this, but with a little bit more focus and a little bit more interaction with everybody with their personal and business finances. So with that, I'll stop talking because I can keep rambling here. Thank you again, and just reach out to me with any questions, and I will talk to you soon. I'll be posting a much shorter video on more updated tax laws as we get a better sense of what's coming through Congress and what finally gets implemented. So watch out for that. All right, thanks again. Talk soon.